What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy ETGJ. Man, we back with it. It sounded like I had a little West Coast accent to me or something like that. Was funny. I heard it right then. Y'all ain't hear that? You might have just been me. I know I sound country as hell. I know I sound country as hell. I'm from North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't already guessed or heard, I'm from North Carolina. But shout out to the West Coast, man. Shout out King Milk, man. Got the marathon on. Man, if y'all want bro to sponsor, man, I could be a marathon sponsor, bro. I love Milk. I love Los Angeles, even though I ain't never been. But y'all want me to sponsor? Hey man, send me some shirts, some hats or something, Crenshaw. Send me some stuff, you know what I'm saying? But today, man, we got something a little different. I know lately I've been doing the podcast reactions to things, and that's really dope, and that's definitely my niche. But I also definitely want to get into the real tea and the real conversations and real kind of barbershop talk and real things that people talk about in our culture. Because everybody don't talk about everything that's going on in these podcasts. And I feel like, today we got Africans versus African Americans, and kind of the middle ground, and kind of them kind of I don't want to say battling out, because at the end of the day we are all black people, we are all African people of African descent. But I ain't gonna talk too much. I'm gonna let video do all the talking and explaining. We just gonna react. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's get it.
Me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life. And I feel like personally, we need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way. And just
Let me
keep
jump
trying.
in real quick.
They starting this off pretty good already. I kind of agree with bro. Like, because we can't just call everything, oh, I didn't get this job because I was black. I didn't get this loan or this credit card because I'm black. It's like man, come on, man. Like it's other factors, it's other things. I'm sure it's black people that have gotten that loan and have gotten that credit card or that car, that scholarship. It's things that you have done or haven't done that have contributed to that. So they already starting off pretty solid.
No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And
It
I
does.
can't just
It does.
ignore it. But what I can do is not buy into the system.
So they did start that off.
Step forward if you agree. Slavery affected my family.
Yeah, I mean, that's just evident in my last name, King. I mean, that's the brand of the slave owner that put that name on my family all those years ago, and I'm still wearing it in those ways, along with the compounded, economic disparity, social disparity, mental trauma, all of that.
Oh, also, let y'all know this is just part one. This is like a whole 30-minute video. We just gonna knock out like half of this one, and I'm gonna hit y'all with a part two later on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is a part one.
I mean, it's tethered forever.
So to go back to slavery and talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, it has never stopped.
Skip.
So there is no post.
He looked like a skip.
What my great-grandparents were teaching my grandparents, who taught my mother, who taught me, came from what they learned through slavery. So there's a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a fear of society, a fear of law enforcement. So slavery has made a major impact where the low self-esteem is consistently reoccurring. I think for me, growing up in Los Angeles, California in the early 1960s, there was a stereotype that I didn't want to be black. I didn't want to be African because we come from Africa or we're slaves. So I want to be a Chinese boy. I want to be Bruce Lee. So growing up like that, I didn't like myself and who I was. I didn't like the color of my skin or the way that I spoke. So I emulated other people. I wanted to be something that I was not.
It's very saddening when you can literally only go back a couple generations and then it's like the documents just don't exist. There's no record. It's like, my family has completely been erased. In that same point too, in the time that we've been here, we've created an incredible culture and we have so many things to be proud of. And I always reframe the narrative.
Then too, to say that too, like it's not a lot of records of even other races. These other races that have paperwork and certain things, maybe on like how they did things, but even for let's say Asian people, like Korean, outside of maybe hieroglyphics and artifacts and things like that, it's not a lot of paperwork and things on how they conducted. I don't know. Y'all tell me. But I don't think it's a lot of paperwork on with other races either of like who they are. They just kind of was just kind of taught. I feel like you're kind of taught those things of, hey, your great great grandfather was a baker, a cook, was a locksmith, like things, you know what I mean?
Narrative myself, and I speak of my ancestors that were enslaved as, doctors and healers. And it's like, we were taken because we were talented,
Right.
Because we had skills to offer. We built this country, so.
And still building.
And still building, that's something to take pride in, so.
Can the disagree step forward?
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best
Ain't that
way
funny
to make
they-
money
they
on
brought a white
Amazon
person?
is not with
Oh.
physical products.
We had this effort. They had a white person on the commercial.
Slavery didn't affect my family,
No
but we
offense
did.
to white
But we did suffer
Love-
different
love
type of
the-
slavery
love my
back
white
home.
people.
Like we went to colonization. Like I am Bamileke. There was a massacre of Bamileke. You guys can like look it up. They killed like more than 300,000 of my people because we didn't want to assimilate to the French culture. But it's still nothing compared to what you guys ancestor like been through.
I wouldn't want to minimize that pain, though. What you just said hurt me. That 300,000 people were killed because they would not conform to the colonization of the French people. So that is just as painful and hurtful as.
Yeah, like I think I heard somebody say one time, like, how we've been through 9/11 once. Like we went through 9/11. Well, they've been through 10, 11, 12, 15, 20 9/11s in Africa. And so that's why, some African people come here and they're like, what are y'all doing? Like, why are y'all complaining? And because I've been through this, or my ancestors went through this and that and a third, but we went through this, that, and the third. My parents went through this, that, and the third. Why are y'all complaining? Why are y'all not building and unifying and growing? So something to think
the
about.
trauma that we suffered here in America.
I can't share the same experience that you have went through and your family, even though we also had our own type of slavery. We had apartheid at the time, where the Dutch people took over and they
South
wanted to just
Africa.
have South Africa, Namibia, and I think other countries where we could only just speak Dutch. It's somehow still happening even now. There's like a place in South Africa where it's called Orania, and it's just Dutch people there. No Black person is even allowed there. So we still somehow feel that oppression even now, but it's nothing compared to what your ancestral had.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I didn't even know that. I mean, of course I know it's white people in Africa. It's I guess you correct me if I'm wrong. It's white Africans. I did not know that. I think we really got as Black people, as African Americans, we really do gotta kind of look back over there in Africa and see some of the hardships that they kind of went through and they've had to deal with. Not saying that, not to minimize slavery, but we gotta kind of look at, oh man, they went through this. This happened over there, like
history, has gone through. I'm somehow happy that you guys have forgiven it, even though you haven't forgotten it. have you forgiven it? Like the face, like.
Do that. But me personally, no, I haven't. But I want to work through the change. But no, I have not forgiven because it's a system.
I don't think we will ever forgive or forget. We definitely not gonna forget, but I don't think we'll forgive. I think we can just kind of just like move on, but still, it's gonna always be back there in the back of our head of what happened. Just like I just spoke on 9/11. 9/11 is gonna always be the back of our head, back there, for people that experienced it.
System that's still going on. And from what I'm hearing from you guys, there's a system that's still going on in Africa as well. And it's a war on us.
Racism is the main cause of poverty among Black people in America.
This is gonna be a good one.
Racism
I can
is a
tell.
very big issue that talking about it, I'm really trying to be careful to not like say anything that will be insensitive. If opportunity is right here, they will give it to people of other race than African American and Africans too. So if there's a job that maybe have math requirement, I feel like they'll pick an Asian person, or they believe, oh, African Americans will not dress appropriate, so they will pick another person. They will always like pick people that are not Black over people that are Black.
And I also think, I think the crucial missing point when we talk about economic disparity, time is the most valuable currency. And if you have a stock that's like the American dream is the stock, and during all that time, all that asset, the American dream was appreciating, and you're not allowed to take out business loans, you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed to write, you have to first fight to become 3/5 of a citizen, then you got Jim Crow, and then you got everything else. It's like you're now having to buy in at a price so high because the time is irreparable. You can't get that back.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We're just now getting at a point where we can buy in and invest into ourselves and stock and what we built. And I see what he's saying. Like we lost a lot of time. We're trying to catch up. So
one Black person today cannot in one lifetime achieve what generations of white families were able to do simply because they didn't have to compete with us to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Yeah, I was thinking, just like you said, from a historical standpoint, we start with slavery, then that's centuries, generations of stolen labor, like you said. Then we get into Jim Crow, which is just an extension of that. Then we have redlining, we have mass incarceration, we have events like the bombing of Tulsa and Rosewood in Florida, and all these different examples of our wealth being decimated. And I don't say that to come from a defeatist or a victim mindset, but I think if we just have an honest conversation about history and what we've gone through when we've been here, racism is definitely a big part of that. And there are a lot of successful Black Americans, a lot of millionaires, a lot of, business owners, but they're exceptions for sure for a reason. And there's a big difference between income and wealth. I would like to challenge the ideal that African Americans are lazy or that we don't have a good work ethic. I think there's this perception that, we're here, we're in America, how are we not doing better for ourselves? So
Pacifico is a crisp golden lager.
What I just say?
For those who know, it's what's behind a label that
I don't know what we about to say.
I thought I was going to be the only one staying. I was going to be like, oh, I'm about to be like Kanye West. But okay, there's a lot of things we can use as an excuse to hold us back, to not to reach our potential. But it's up to us to look past that. Like me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life, my family. I'm the only one here. And since I have been here, there's a lot of bad things that happened to me. There's also a lot of good things that happened to me. Us African or African American, we need to look past racism and just focus on our own goal. What do we want to achieve? We need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way, and just keep trying.
So let me jump in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists and I have to acknowledge it. And I can't just ignore it. But what I can do is not buy into the system. If I want to do something, let me be the entrepreneur. What I believe happened in the 1960s is that we started looking for equal rights, to be equal with other people. And what we stopped doing, and I heard you talk about Tulsa, we stopped using the Black-owned businesses. Now, because you guys got to understand, The Fair Housing.
Yeah, yeah, I see where he's going. Of kind of like we wanted to be equal so bad, we stopped creating our own ecosystem and economy. And I was talking to somebody about that the other day. Like, yo, I saw a TikTok about how it's going to some people, it might sound crazy, but how segregation, some people look at segregation as like one of the worst things that happened to us. Or integration, I'm sorry. Integration was one of the worst things that happened to us because we had towns and cities and businesses and dentist offices, doctor offices, banks, but we wanted to be equal so bad and be accepted so bad that we kind of excluded, ourselves out of creating our own, economy and ecosystem and, just system that we really, wanted for ourselves. So
in the Black-owned businesses. Now, because you guys got to understand, the Fair Housing Act in 1968, I'm 5 years old. That's when we could move off the east side of LA and move into other subcultures. So what I wanted to do at 8 years old was go to IHOP. I didn't want to go to the Ma and Pa restaurant anymore. I want to go to, let's go eat at the hotels. So what we did is stop supporting each other and started supporting corporate America. So the racism plays a major part, but we don't have to buy into it.
I have been waiting to disagree with you, my brother. I'm waiting patiently. The thing is, even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see Black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all these things, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there's some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in they're nurtured that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
I mean, we have police brutality back home too.
But it's like, how do you do that? Like, because it's books on that. Like, you can't have anger and still move on. Like to move on. In a way, it's like it's crazy. I just said not forgive, but in a way, you almost have to forgive or forget. Either one or the other. You gotta forgive or forget. Like, hey, you gotta tell white people, like, hey, man, like, we understand your ancestors did this, that, the third, and you might even be racist or have some prejudice. But you know what? Whatever. You go this way, I'm gonna go this way, and focus on my lane, and I'm gonna only look this way. And it kind of go back to what my man was saying about us having our own ecosystem.
We have like, if you go to Cameroon and then you see how the police officer treat us, and they're Black just like us, you're not even gonna believe it. And in Cameroon we have this. Have you guys heard of the word like tribalism? So
yeah, it happens in Nigeria.
So we do get oppressed too. And
I agree.
so when I'm saying like we need to like look past that, I'm not saying forget what happened to you guys or me. At the end of the day, we cannot just sit and just grieve on the past. We have to be able to move on, but not forget. If I could choose a place to live, it would obviously be my country. I love my country, but right now, my country is not the best choice for me. There's a little genocide going on in Cameroon right now. So many innocent life are being taken. If I was still in my country, the opportunity that I have here, I would not have those opportunity there.
Hip hop reinforces stereotypes about the Black community.
Oh man, Jubilee is hitting on the head with these points. Like they really stirring up some good conversation. Like for real, I can't even hold you. This is some good conversation.
This game, you're not ready for.
In South Africa, we have our own version of hip hop. So we call it Kwaito. So they would rap in our own language in different, we call it Venek. So back home, it kind of did reinforce some stereotypes because now when you go out in the world, people will just classify you under one group. And growing up, also looking at American entertainment, looking at the hip hop that's done here, I'm like, oh, well, you're rapping about drugs, you're rapping about this. Of course, it's going to happen. Of course, you're going to go to jail. But getting older, you see the culture as well of hip hop. I had to understand that there's a culture within that.
I was alive when hip hop started, and it was during a time where people rapped about what they saw, what they wanted in life. And then it became.
We're gonna end the video right here, because this is a great point, great conversation, really dope. I don't want to touch on it right now to the next video because I'm gonna go back and kind of we're gonna go back into the whole question and the situation, the whole vibe and everything. But really dope video by Jubilee. This is really well, made, and I like how I don't know who these people are. They might even work for Jubilee. I don't know, but really dope video. But man, hey, if y'all enjoy this type of content, because I really actually like this. If y'all enjoy this, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know, other Jubilee videos y'all want me to check out, or anything kind of in this lane y'all want me to check out. But like I always say, man, stay in y'all lane. Just keep grinding, stay hungry. Catch y'all next one. Peace.